on up. Now, Kevin McCauley, he's a fuels manager for the town of Payson. Also, Mike Reichling. And Mike, folks know you from up in the Pine Strawberry Fire District, but you also are part of this Type 1 incident management team that gets farmed out all over the country.
Yes, absolutely. I'm the former fire marshal. I turned that position over in February to Rick Barnes, and I'm still the liaison for the district doing programs like this. So I'm the lead public information officer for the Southwest Incident Management Team #1 that's over in Camp Verde. They've got their command post set up there. We have a spike camp, and that's just a forward camp with supplies and food and all for the firefighters on this side of the fire, since there's a distance of about an hour drive.
Right.
So for safety reasons, we bring in the crews here, and it's closer to the fire going up 87. So
now, it seemed like although the fire had been growing exponentially each day, it seemed like yesterday things did get slowed down a little bit because of the weather, and that's certainly a good sign.
It's a good sign, and we had some challenges with that. We had a burn operations scheduled for the day that it rained, and actually the day before, then it started raining that night, and then yesterday. So that kind of put us back a day or two, because now we're going to have to wait for that area to dry out somewhat for us to be able to burn that towards the main fire.
Right.
But the good news is it did slow the main fire down, but it just kind of put us back a little bit on our burning plan.
And really, nothing exemplifies the old saying of fighting fire with fire than what you folks are forced to do in these kind of situations, as far as kind of heading it off at the pass, so to speak.
So what we did in the beginning, before we get into the update, is just get a little history of what we've been fighting for the last, since a week ago, Friday, tomorrow. We brought in heavy tankers. We were the #1 priority fire in the nation for days into this. Luckily for us, we were able to get a number of large air tankers in, the big Vlats, very large air tanker, and lay down some fire retardant as a barrier between the fire and the communities.
Right.
So that worked. And at the same time, we had crews on the ground putting in line around the west side of the communities, as well as dozers. So we had bulldozers out building line from all the way up Strawberry down along to Fossil Creek Road, which is the 708, past that down to the 428, which is the Hardscrabble Road, and then all the way back and tied in with an existing dozer line from the Polis fire last year. So we've got dozer line all the way from the 87, all the way on the south side of Pine, up to Strawberry, and then up on top of Strawberry. So that is a great accomplishment. So,
and it's a bit of a challenge too, because I mean, anyone that's been down to Fossil Creek knows that that's a really deep canyon, really steep walls, and obviously that steepness is a whole other challenge when it comes to the spread of fire.
We could not get firefighters down in there initially like we normally do, because it was just way too dangerous.
Sure.
So they hit it with their assets. We went ahead and started building a big, we call it the big box, and they decided to go ahead and to keep that big box in place from the 20-mile-an-hour turn when you're going north of Strawberry, and then up about a mile and a half. From that point, they started burning to the west off the 87,
right,
all the way up to Cinch Hook, which is the turn off to Camp Verde, going west another 3 miles on the 260. So that whole, called the catcher's mitt. So if the fire continues up, goes up Fossil Creek and gets up around Nash Point, we'll be able to catch it there.
Outstanding. Now, where are we at as far as this morning, the last report, as far as acres that have been affected thus far?
Well, the IR flight, or the infrared flight from last night, shows we got 40,591 acres. We've got 1% containment. That's on the very southwest point, down by the river, down by the Verde River. That's only 1% containment, and we've got 740 firefighters on the fire as of
up
today.
to 740 now already.
Yes.
Well, that's quick. And now, again, we have with us again in the studio, also from the town of Payson, Kevin McCauley, the fuels manager for the town of Payson. And from the perspective of the fire department, emergency response, and just dealing with this, well, you guys got your hands full too. We've got a lot of our neighbors came down here to visit with us for a few days. So, I mean, this has got you running in a bunch of different directions, I'm sure.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on this morning.
You bet.
Yeah, one of the things the town of Payson can be very proud in a couple of ways. One is for the hospitality that they're showing to the evacuees. Everybody that I'm talking to, very appreciative that, people are bringing them water and whatever they need. People are donating to the Red Cross and to the Salvation Army and to the Humane Society. And they put out a call for hay, for example, for the large animals, and we got more than we can use right now. So people are just bending over backwards, really doing a great thing, and can really be proud of our community for that, for the hospitality. And by the way, if you want to donate, the best way right now, and it's hard to ask for money, but the best way is just to give those agencies, Red Cross, Salvation Army, Humane Society, some money that they can use to buy food.
Right. A lot of people may not realize, well, folks that have been around Payson for a long time might remember back to 1990 and the Dude Fire, and things were, the management of these kind of incidents were, it was a significantly different world back then. And there was a huge outpouring of people bringing food and stuff to the base camp. But really nowadays, these base camps, they're super well stocked, and the folks there are eating really good. It's not like they're eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or anything. They feed them well. Again, although I think we all feel like, gosh, we want to do something to show our support and everything. Sometimes, like you say, the best thing to do is either support those agencies that support the firefighters and the overall cause, or I know one of the other things that seems like it has gone a long way towards just the greater good is just putting up signs of thanks to all of our firefighters and let them know that we're thinking about them. And we somebody had shared on social media, and we reposted it onto KRIM's and Tano TV's Facebook pages last night. But some scenes from right on the fire line where these guys are having to scramble along and really do the down and dirty work right next to the front of the fire. Gives you a bit of an indication of just how difficult this work can be for these folks, and the wonderful work that they're doing. So what are the big concerns for you right now as far as the town of Payson and everything? Are there significant concerns that as far as needing to get the information out to the public?
Well, we're working real hard, and Mike and I, like I was telling you earlier, we've worked together before the fire on other things like Ready, Set, Go, and we have pretty close contacts even before this fire happened. But we're just trying to get all the information out to people so that they're not making up stuff. And I ask people if you want information, look for the official sites, look at the fire websites.
Right.
That's where you're going to get the accurate information. It does take a little bit longer. It's not instant because all that information is fact. It's all verified.
Well, and typically you folks are coming out with updates in the morning and then again in the evening. And if you just look at those two, you can tell kind of what's going on. The updates have been really complete as far as from the fire lines, different parts of the fire, how that's going, as well as the overall response effort. And I know Gila County Sheriff Adam Shepard released a statement that we reposted as well, saying that he's been getting a lot of phone calls from people wanting to know when they can go back to work, and he reiterated, I thought rather eloquently, that they depend on you fire experts, not rather than on their own understanding of what's going on. And until the fire experts are saying it's safe to go back in, nobody's going back in. So hats off to the Sheriff's Department doing a difficult job at a difficult time, and I'm sure emotions tend to run a little bit high. You mentioned the Ready, Set, Go program, and if there was ever a time to just reiterate that briefly, now when we're all faced with the reality of these wildfires, this Ready, Set, Go, first of all, as far as the way it works is, when there's a fire nearby, you might get a ready status, given to the area to be ready to evacuate. Then the set is, okay, now it looks like it's getting a little bit closer to home, and so you need to be set and to evacuate at any given moment. And then once they say go, it's time to go. I can't imagine, Mike, when it comes to evacuating Pine and Strawberry, we talked a little bit about the topography up there being a challenge when it comes to the fire, but when it comes to just evacuating a lot of people in one direction out of Pine and Strawberry, that in and of itself is kind of a logistical hurdle.
And the reason it happened so fast is that they were looking at the Type 3 team that was here before, the Central West Zone,
Right.
was very concerned that that fire was going to jump up in that canyon, burn right into pine that Friday afternoon. So they were able to get the aircraft, slow it down, but they still wanted to tell or advise the sheriff's office to start the evacuation. It went pretty smooth. There was a little bit of I found out there was a traffic accident down towards Payson that slowed up traffic. That's why it was taking so long to get out of Pine. But overall, it went very well. I congratulate everybody who evacuated and gave us the room to work on the roads in Pine, because we're doing structure protection, setting up sprinkler systems on the west end of Strawberry to protect all those homes. And there was just a massive amount of firefighters and trucks and all up and down the roads since this has started. So
Outstanding.
we really need to get that opened up for the firefighters.
And when it comes to this kind of thing too, Kevin, I would think that this is a perfect time to also talk about, it seems like in between fire seasons when we kind of, it's just not a big pressing matter in our lives. It's kind of hard sometimes to get people to pay attention to some of the different types of fuels mitigation that we can do just around our house and around our neighborhoods. It would seem like this would be a good time to reiterate that can make all the difference in the world. So, these various things that have been proposed in the past, as far as clearing some of the the various vegetation around your home and stuff like that. The reality that just hits home in a big way right now.
In emergencies, and in particular, people don't think of on a daily basis a lot of times,
Right.
until something happens, then it reminds them. But yeah, so the Ready, Set, Go, it's a national program developed by the International Association of Fire Chiefs. Arizona is one of the first states in the nation to actually adopt that as a model for evacuations. And we have pamphlets here. People say, well, what does Ready, Set, Go mean? If you get one of our pamphlets, it actually has checklists that Mike and I have worked on. It tells you exactly each stage of that, the purpose of it, and what you can do to be prepared. And one thing I want to throw out there too is that the ready stage is something that we should be ready every day of the year. When you live in the Southwest, that opportunity for a fire to impact your life is always there.
Sure.
So ready is something that we're going to do daily. So you might not get, if you're signed up for Everbridge, you probably won't get a notification of ready because you're supposed to be that. But they will notify you of set.
Right.
So that's kind of in a nutshell.
Makes sense. And obviously, it's got to be kind of near and dear to you guys, as far as again, that reiterating the importance of maybe keeping low-hanging tree branches off of your roof and keeping your gutters clean and stuff like that. I mean, those things all make a big difference at times like this.
Sure. Pine Strawberry has a fuel reduction 501c3 up there that works very hard all the time to get the message out. We have a fire adaptive community committee here in Payson, and they're always working hard. They'll come out and look at your property and give you suggestions on what you can do to make it safer. They're also looking for people to help them, volunteers that are interested in helping with that.
Right. And Mike, when it comes to, I think we've all seen these kind of fire breaks that have been cut in around communities as an extra buffer. I mean, those have got to be, a huge point of defense when something like this comes up as well.
It is. It gives us that bare ground between the burned fuel and the unburned fuel. We started that during the Polis fire from the 87 all the way down across the south side of Pine. So that really is a great defensive point that we can put firefighters on the unburned side, and if any ashes or embers fall, they can get on top of those without the fire burning straight, the head of the fire burning straight through a community. So
Right.
we use that. We use the firefighters themselves. We set up the sprinklers, the aircraft. So it's a combination of many different resources put on the fire to either put it out or slow it down.
Outstanding. And again, as you reported, currently 740 personnel assigned to the Backbone Fire. Is that expected to still increase more?
Well, we are in a planning level 5. That's one of the highest planning levels. What that means is there's every team is out right now.
And you got, but there's more and more fires. It seems like
There's 17. There are 17 major fires in Arizona. 250,000 acres on fire right now.
Right.
And we are stretched. I just talked to the state yesterday, and they were trying to get another 100 engines in from the West Coast.
Wow, that's just the logistics involved in all that have got to be a nightmare. Hats off to what both of you are doing, what all the personnel on these fires are doing. Again, some kind of rough duty at times, especially in the heat of the summer. According to the National Weather Service, although we have a slight chance for some showers today, things are supposed to be drying out a bit on Friday and Saturday, but they are expecting a resurgence of monsoonal moisture coming in on Sunday and maybe being with us through Thursday. So here's hoping, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Outstanding. Keep up the good work and tell everybody that we're thinking and praying for
Well,
them.
thank you. We'll pass that on. Thank you very much.
And thank you both for being with us. We appreciate everything that they're doing, and we appreciate you tuning in and listening here on KRIM. We've got a lot more of your favorite music coming your way, some tunes from Led Zeppelin, the Hollies, the Cars, Bad Company, and more. But first, these words.
Good job, Randy, as always.
Yeah, just make it up as I go along. It's weird. The last almost 23 years now, I've done disaster response work in about 35 countries. And
Yeah.
the only place that I've done wildfires is, living here at home. But man, I've done earthquakes and hurricanes and tsunamis and wars and famine and all kinds of different crap.
Wow.
And yet, it seems like a lot of the same variables are still at play in those kind of things too. And the misinformation, people spouting off about stuff that they don't have a clue about.
Getting ahead of the social media has just been a nightmare since
I
it
bet you come up with
started.
new terms for
Yeah.
social media. That we can't share on the air, probably.
One thing, I don't know how to get it out there, but I'd like, and I haven't had an opportunity yet, but the Payson Police Department, they've got officers up there, they've got people turning in their vacations to work this.
Wow.
And
I've seen Hanson posting up a bunch of video on social
Yeah.
media too. It was nice to see some rain up there.
We got a fifth of our fire department up there,
a fifth.
a fifth of our fire department up there working on, actually over that. So we have to backfill that here.
Right.
So, that's another thing that I was gonna say Payson can be proud of.
That's our doorstep.
That's the other thing that Payson can be proud of is that, their departments here in town really.
That's a huge point.
So I'm trying to get that across. I haven't had a chance to yet, but if there's a way to do it,
Well, I'll tell you, there is a way to do it. Let's do it right here, right now. I'll just do a quick little video here, and I'll work it into the news tomorrow.
And I don't know if
So
maybe,
let's see here. There we go.
It'd be great to have something like this.
Okay, so bottom line is we have an awful lot of town of Payson personnel that are actually up working on the fire.
Absolutely, and I think that's another point of pride that the town of Payson can have, is that we have our police officers turning in vacations, being away from their family to go up there and help. We have firefighters that are also turning in their vacations to work. We have a fifth of the fire department up there working on that fire right now. And, those aren't extra people, so every one of those members has to be backfilled to keep those fire engines in town running 24/7. So it's a big opportunity for us to help, and that's something that Payson can take a lot of pride in.
Outstanding. I'll make sure that gets into the news tomorrow. Well done.
Thank you.
Absolutely. No, I think that's a great point, and I think people do need to be aware of that.
Yeah, like people that take ownership of the fire department, police department, we're here for them.
Well, you got people that are giving up their vacation.
Well,
I think we're to the point to them.
I don't get vacation time, but if I had some, I don't know I'd want to give it up.
Well, we have one of our engines that's up there was down south on the Tennessee fire engine.
Yeah.
Right.
They've been down there for a week.
Yeah.
They got off of that fire department this fire, now they've been on this fire since last Saturday.
Oh, yeah, that way.
We haven't seen their
instead
families
of just,
almost 2 weeks.
What we would do is, with the
They'll get
video,
off after 21 days.
And,
They'll get
the
off.
cameras and do shots.
That's a mandatory
video,
thing?
which is
21 days?
Pretty much.
Pretty much mandatory. I like that. I know how that goes.
Just,
They can't force you, but they force you.
Well, just know that we're happy to help in anything that we can do to
So
help
that way people can see.
work against the misinformation that's out there and or disinformation that's out there. Just use us. So we're happy to help.
Yeah,
I wish it
everybody's
wasn't
been
that
great that way.
flight administration.
It really works.
Fire, yeah, they use a drone.
Yeah, I
There was
was,
a TFR put up, you can't fly your drone.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But I was just saying, it'd be great if we could fly a drone and get some footage of this thing.
I know with some of the search and rescue stuff that I've done down in Tano with the sheriff's department, of course, that, it's a different bunch of hierarchy there, but I would be in touch with them and they would say, okay, well, the helicopter helping with search and rescue is leaving to go refuel, so we got 10 minutes that you can be up in the air. And so we do something like that, but if there's ever an opportunity for that.
If we need to get,
just giving up baby.
we're getting closer to that, we're coordinating the drone with the aviation folks.
Right.
That works for good.
We need you to double sort. That's a great way to do it.
I would.
National news. I'm gonna go all hurricane, tornado.
And when those kids died down on the Tono Creek here last year, the drone footage that I was shooting down there, that went to national network stuff.
Okay, guys, hey, thanks, man.
Thanks, Mike.